That's it for the news this Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us.
Now stay tuned for Mike Scinto Live. Today's topic, the price of gasoline.
We close out now with a field trip.
Have a dry day.
Join me for the Indy 500 update beginning Wednesday at 6.
Now, live from the studios of 1290 WHIO, your chance to take part in the Miami Valley's only midday radio talk forum. 1290 WHIO and Television 7 proudly present this simulcast segment of the Mike Scinto Show.
Gentlemen, prices have gone up roughly how much in the last 30 days?
30 days, about 12 cents.
About 12 cents a gallon.
In the last 60 days, they've gone up 26 cents.
26 cents. And now there's some difference of opinion. You say they'll probably stay close to the same, and you think they're going to go up before Memorial Day, right? Maybe another dime?
Probably.
Okay. Robert Hines and Charles Holmes are both with the Southwestern Ohio Garage and Gasoline Dealers Association. So if indeed the oil companies are gouging us with the prices, they're gouging you folks too, right?
Indeed.
If there's a gouge going on.
If there's a gouge, yeah.
Okay. I have said on this radio program a number of times, and we talked about it during the radio part of the show, that this is free enterprise. This is America. God love it. Sometimes there are things that happen that we don't like, but in a free market, free enterprise system, if the oil companies want to charge $20 a gallon for our gasoline, they have a right to, don't they?
Indeed, they do. They are subject.
Would you agree?
They do. But I think of that type of.
It'd be foolish. I'm not saying it'd be foolish, and they would go out of business. But I'm saying theoretically, if they want to do it, it's the law of supply and demand.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'd concur with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You don't want to see any kind of regulation on gasoline prices.
On the prices, now, I don't believe so. No, I don't.
No.
Okay. Why not? Here's Joe Consumer out here who drives the car, and who wants to make sure he's got 2 cars, 3 cars. His kid drives to school, wife drives to work, he drives to work. He doesn't want to pay $1.70 for a gallon of gasoline. He wants to pay 79 cents for a gallon of gasoline. Why not?
Well,
let's regulate it. Let's bring it down to 79 cents a gallon.
What happens there, I've never seen government regulations that they haven't ultimately hurt the consumer. They never do anything. It's always for the consumer, but they invariably end up hurting them. And it's like subsidies for anything. When they say, hey, we're going to help out the consumer. But I think the marketplace will adjust itself. Okay. But what's happening now, there's a lot of, there's some profiteering taking place. There's also a lot of other factors. The Reed vapor factor, that's costing more to produce a gallon of product, gasoline, than what it used to. That's becoming more and more evident in the eastern states, in New Jersey, New York, around in there, and that's going to be translating down to us too. On the West Coast, the Valdez situation caused some profiteering to be taking place there. Some marketers bought refined product.
But it's legal. It's legal profiteering.
Absolutely legal.
And if I want to get a tank and put it in my backyard and it's big enough and I want to sell it back to the oil companies, it's legal.
You can do that.
Well, with the futures market, you can do it just on paper too, Mike. Sure.
And what's wrong with that? I mean, aren't we in America though? If you start a business, you both own a service station.
Yes, sir.
You're in there to make money, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Best dollar you can make.
Absolutely.
You're a bad businessman if you don't.
Absolutely.
So how can we yell at the oil companies?
I don't think we can, really.
Okay. You're not mad at them at all?
Oh, I'm mad at them for their timing. Yeah. Timing was lousy. One thing, if they really need this amount of money, if it's really justified by the cost of petroleum, then it should have happened over a gradual period of time, because the cost of the crude oil didn't go up instantly. It took time to go up.
But you know what? As long as we're still going to the pumps, as long as we're still paying the $1, I think you said $1.07 is the average around here for unleaded regular, $1.07 or $8, $1.17 for the next grade up. long as we're paying that, and if it goes up another dime, we keep paying it and keep buying the same volume or a little less, and as long as they can rake that profit in, they're going to keep doing it, right?
Right, and I haven't seen my volume go down.
And we want the big cars. We told Detroit after the oil embargo in the 70s, we want our big cars back, didn't we?
Indeed.
Right.
So who's to blame? We are, aren't we?
It comes down to the motoring
It gets back to the consumer. That's right. Demand has gone up over the last 6 or 7 years after bottoming out probably in 81, and that's when the prices were the lowest, about 81. We have had higher prices than we have right now, incidentally. Prices have been probably a dime higher than they are currently.
Are the oil companies giving us the shaft, or are they just doing good business? Are they doing what we do in our businesses? Sound off about gasoline prices, about the Exxon spill, and anything else. We're going to show you exactly how you can do it on the Mike Scinto Show.
You can take part in the Mike Scinto Show by calling 457-1290 or toll free anywhere in Ohio, 1-800-345-1290.
Our guests in studio are Chuck Holmes, the president of the Southwestern Ohio Garage and Gasoline Dealers Association of Dayton, Ohio, and Robert Hines, executive director of that same organization. And they're in studio with us to take some of the heat, although they're pretty much on your side, the consumer, but we have some different ideas. I thought they were going to jump down my throat when I said, hey, the gas companies have a right to charge whatever they want, but they didn't. Most of the consumers probably will, though, as we go to the phones and say hello to Earl.
Hi, Mike.
Hello, Earl.
The big thing that I don't understand about this is when things do happen, and I understand there's been some things happen that makes gasoline, that would make gasoline go up, but the thing I don't understand is why, when these things are brought out, the conditions that cause the price apparently to go up, why does that also apply to their supplies underground? And what I mean by that is immediately when that becomes known, the price goes up. That's my question.
Gentlemen?
Yes, that's true, but if you look at it the other side, immediately when the price goes down, that goes into effect. So if we have gasoline in the ground at a lower price and the price goes up and we raise our price, indeed we make that additional amount of money on that gasoline. All those times that the price was going down, though, the same thing was happening in reverse. We were losing that money because we made our moves at the same time that the price went down.
All right. Thanks so much for calling. We say hello to Ed, a first-time caller from Northwest Dayton. You're on with our guests.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Along the same lines, I suppose, assuming that the spill in Alaska would have a negative impact on the market, how long would it normally take before that impact would hit the pump?
Normally, how long would what happened in Alaska?
6 weeks, if you're talking about an increase in oil prices, would normally take about 6 weeks. But this was a news happening here. It was not.
This was speculation.
Well, it was fear. It got people afraid. Got people investing in the futures market, saying, "Okay, the price is going to go up, and we'll buy it," and it does force it up.
Hey, Ed, one of the things we've been saying is that the oil companies don't need a reason. I mean, we're here debating whether that was a good reason to raise the prices or not. And one of the things we're saying is the oil companies don't need a reason. If they just, if the chairman of the board gets up tomorrow morning and decides he wants to raise it 25%, he should have a right to, shouldn't he?
Well, I suppose so, but you have to take into consideration other factors as well, as far as the consumers are concerned.
Why? What specifically? What do you need to? If they raise the price 25%, you're going to buy less gas, aren't you?
Well, I would imagine so. I would hope not. That might be one way we could control things if we ourselves, the consumer, get involved and buy less, use less, and this sort of thing.
Bingo, you hit it. I mean, that's what.
That's right.
Since we've been drinking gas like pigs, that's why the prices are going up. We're out there and we're willing to pay the money for it.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
I'm sure that's true.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Mike.
Steve, you're on the Mike Scinto Show on 1290 WHIO Radio and Television 7.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Steve.
My only concern about the government regulation, I think we need regulation, but not on the amount or the price. I think it should be on the quality of the gas like the octane rating just keeps getting lower and lower and lower. It's to the point now where you have to burn the $1.31 or $1.35 a gallon gas just to keep your car from pinging.
I haven't seen the octane rating lowered, though. I mean, it's been 87 for regular, and some places I've seen regular unleaded as high as 89 octane in some
our mid-grade is 89.
Yeah.
And my truck will ping at 89 octane. I have to get up into the 90s octane. What was octane ratings back in, say, late 60s? That was up over is around 92, 93.
Steve, do you think that's a manufacturer's defect, or is that a problem with the gasoline companies? Is the car being built to lower standards and specifications, or is the gasoline changing?
No, that's directly related to the gasoline, to your fuel. That's the car manufacturers.
Well, we as a nation have been demanding higher performance cars. As we get higher performance automobiles, we've got to have a higher octane gasoline.
Come on,
that's simple.
Now, these cars that we're driving today don't even compare to the higher performance cars of the 60s.
But they're higher performance cars than the four-cylinder cars that we were driving in the late 70s.
Plus, they're higher performance cars with all of the additions that the manufacturers have been forced to put on to comply with clean air restrictions.
That's not high performance car. You can't even buy a high performance car in the United States anymore. You have to get a foreign model if you're going for performance.
Well, we've got quite a few foreign models here, too, when you get down to it.
All right. Steve, I've got to run, but thanks for calling. Bye-bye. We're going to a cellular phone, a man who's out on the move right now, in fact. Bill, hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, thank you. You're not watching us on TV while you're driving, are you?
Please?
I said you're not watching us on TV while you're driving, are you?
No.
Okay.
Stuff like that. The only comment I guess I have on it, I understand the oil companies should be allowed to charge what they want, but there are also laws in this country that deal with price fixing. And I guess it concerns me that all oil companies up at the same time and down at the same time, and obviously all of them don't get their oil from exact same places. So I would think that there would be much more control over the pricing, I think, among the executives than what we are led to believe.
Gentlemen, do you believe there's price fixing?
No, I wouldn't call it price fixing. I think they react very quickly to each other's increases. If one goes up, they react very quickly to the increases.
It's like the gasoline price wars we had in the 50s and 60s, where if one station went from 19 cents a gallon, it went down to 17 cents a gallon.
Incidentally, they don't react quite that fast on the downside.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Bill, thank you. You don't buy that, do you?
No, I really don't.
I mean, you think the chairman of all the oil companies, the majors, sit down and they say, okay, let's jack it up 5 cents today.
They may not sit down and do it that way, but there are subtle ways that they do things like that.
All right. Thanks so much for calling. Bye-bye. We're going to take a quick break. You are listening to and watching The Mike Scinto Show, coming to you live from the studios of 1290 WHIO Radio and the facilities of Television 7. We go to Sharonville and say hello to Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing today?
Mike, I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Welcome your guest there to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you might agree with this. I think what this gas crunch hurts more, the people it hurts more, is the people who are self-employed who use their own cars for their business. What do you think about that?
Oh, I have no question about it.
You know, as far as ever since this gas crunch has gone up, hell, I'm spending anywhere from $40 to $50 more a week in gas because I drive anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 miles a week.
Okay, you've identified the problem. What's the solution? Or is there a solution?
Well, I think there's more profiteering taking place than I think the public sees. Because I can be in Ohio and I can see the gas prices. Like I buy the medium grade brand that's running around anywhere from $1.17 to $1.21 around here in Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go into Illinois or say up in, believe it or not, like in Illinois, it's in the upper 90s for the same grade of gasoline. And I don't know, you all know where the Pennsylvania Turnpike is, don't you?
Yeah.
Up there in Pennsylvania.
It's in Pennsylvania, isn't it?
The gas prices to be a lot more expensive on a turnpike, but believe it or not, Mike, they're 13 cents less than they are here.
Who's profiteering? Who's doing all the profiting? Is it the dealers in those states? Or is it the oil companies deciding that they're going to charge more where they can, or what?
Well, what's going on is the oil companies are passing along an increase to the dealers, and the dealers are doubling that increase to us. That's what's happening.
Is that happening, gentlemen?
Well, I've got to tell you right now that I am making exactly the same margin of profit now at $1.10 that I was making at 84 cents 2 months ago.
Do you think that's pretty much the uniform across the country?
I think pretty much. Yeah. There are exceptions.
But nobody's doubling the price.
I don't know of anybody that can. We're still in competition. No. We are competing out there.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, Michael, I've got to move on. I got so many people beating down my door.
Okay.
I appreciate you calling, though.
Very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We move on and say hello to Steve from Vandalia. Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, I agree with what the gentleman there on the radio are saying about they're not making their profits. We realize that the dealers aren't making that big a profit on gasoline. They never have. I think that the Public Utilities Commission should get a little bit involved in gasoline price fixing.
If there is price fixing going on, you want the PUCO to regulate like they do the utilities?
Right, because actually the gasoline supply is a public utility.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think you guys want that, do you? You want the PUCO coming in and tell you what you can charge?
I hate to say it, but I've never seen a government agency do as good a job as the marketplace does. Yeah, right. Really.
Why shouldn't, let me ask you something, Steve?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't the gasoline companies and the dealers, all the way up the line, be able to charge whatever they can charge as long as you and I are going in and buying the product?
Well, that's true.
I mean, that's what the free market system is about. And when enough of us stop buying the product that they're putting out at their prices, if you feel they're gouging prices, then they'll have to bring the prices down, won't they? The market dictates what the price will be.
Right. Well, yeah. The consumer can say, all right, this is it. We're just not going to buy anymore.
Exactly.
Right. It has to come down.
And would you rather have that, or would you rather have the government telling them what they're going to charge?
Well, it's like the airlines and the phone company and everything else. Once they deregulated it, everything kind of went berserk there for a while anyway.
Okay.
Maybe if the government stepped in, it might help. It may or may not help.
May I say one thing, Mike?
Sure.
Back in the late 70s and 1980, there was a regulation on how much profit we could make on a gallon of gas. It was something like 16.8 cents a gallon. No dealer I know could get within half of that.
Yeah.
The government said you couldn't make more than that. My God, we'd have loved to make that.
All right. Thanks for calling, Steve. Before we go back to the phones, just a quick note that we are going to be talking about this subject again in our noon hour. We'll hear some taped comments from the first segment of the show with our guests. So if you got in late on this, we're going to be talking about it on the radio at noon today. So don't go anywhere. We say hello to Jack from Kettering. Hi.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, Mike, I'd just like to make a comment. I feel that there should definitely be price controls. It seemed like most of the callers are saying that they didn't think there should be.
Well, that's sort of a mixed reaction. Why do you think there should be? Isn't that going against everything this country represents in the free market system?
Well, I don't know. I'm a Democrat, which I guess is kind of a rarity in southern Ohio anyway. But
a normal Democrat, yeah, that's a rarity.
But anyhow, I feel on something like gasoline, especially, that you have to have. Like, I'm a salesman, and I put in about 700-800 miles a week on a car. I know the other gentleman called and said he put about 2,000, which he's got to be a truck driver. Mm-hmm. But anyway, if you have to have a product, and you're getting ripped off so badly by the oil companies, and I'm not blaming the dealers. I know it's not their fault. But there has to be something that is going to bring this price down to some reasonable figure.
There is. It's the consumer, as we've been saying, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
It's the consumer buying less.
Well, I know you're saying that, and that would work normally. But if it's a product that you need, that really doesn't work, because you got to have it. If you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to lose your job or whatever.
Let me ask you something very quickly. It's would you concede, and we have to take a break, but would you concede that there are more people are driving more cars and bigger cars today than they were 10 years ago? That people have that second car now, whereas maybe they didn't before for the convenience of it, and the car engines on the average are bigger and get less mileage. Again, the mileage restrictions on miles per gallon have EPA restrictions have not been enforced. So you've got gas guzzlers out there, and the people are guzzling the gas as well.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, there is a lot more bigger cars running around than there were a few years back, but there again, that's a whole other subject. But you know, you got the problem of safety. You know, I would much rather have my daughter, for instance, running around in a big car than I would some little, tiny Sprint or whatever that, if she gets hit in it, she's probably going to be dead real fast.
Well, my daughter won't drive till she's 30, so it doesn't matter. Thanks for calling. We do have to take a break or we're going to be in trouble. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. You are listening to and watching The Mike Scinto Show on 1290 WHIO Radio and Television 7. Tomorrow in this segment, we're going to be talking to some parents of some students in Auglaize County. How would you feel if your children had an allegedly abusive teacher and there were nothing you could do about it? We're going to be talking to some parents who are going through that in Auglaize County tomorrow. And coming up in our next hour, Montgomery County is saying on the radio, that, you can't smoke anywhere in county buildings now. They're pushing smokers farther and farther away. How do you feel about it? It's coming up in our next hour. We say hello to Martin from Butler Township. Hi. Hello, Martin. Are you there? All right, let's try Brad. Hi.
Hi.
You had a real quick comment or question?
Yeah, I have to dispute your contention that the gasoline is a free market. It is not. It's a monopoly, and if you don't like the prices, you can't go elsewhere or use an alternative fuel. In that respect, being a monopoly, it should be regulated.
Gentlemen? I mean, there are alternate fuels.
There are alternate things. You can walk.
You can walk. You can ride a horse.
I live in Springfield, and
we have more people in automobiles.
Move closer to your job.
States.
You can move closer to your job, can't you?
Find me a home there, and I'll do that.
No, it's your job. That's not ours. No, I'm serious. People before cars, manage to get to work every day.
Yeah, but there are fewer alternate transportation systems available. Now, even the RTA doesn't cover it. I used to live in Brookville and work at the Dayton Airport. If I could have ridden the bus, I would have, but there were no connections to get me to work on time.
We've been sold on automobiles.
Yeah.
We are a nation of automobiles.
But you know what they did? They threw the line in the water, and we took the bait, didn't we?
Yeah, so now they're reeling us in, and that's the point I'm making.
And I've got to run, but I'm glad you made it. Thank you.
Bye.
And for those people who didn't get a chance to sound off now, we will be discussing this subject again at noon today, so mark that down on your calendar. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Talking about gasoline prices. And thanks to you for stopping by again. Tomorrow we're going to talk about an allegedly abusive teacher who's still in the classroom in Auglaize County. Coming up next, are smokers being completely run out of Montgomery County? Sure sounds like it. Go out there and make it a great day.
This simulcast segment of the Mike Scinto Show was a presentation of 1290 WHIO Radio and Television 7. Join us tomorrow morning for another exciting guest and conversation. The Mike Scinto Show can be heard weekdays from 9 till 1 on AM 1290 WHIO.